Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and you're watching another episode of Overbooked, the series where I talk about every single book on my shelf because the old gods are compelling me from beyond the deep. I've definitely used that before. Now, continuing on with our Frances Hardinge adventure with my favourite, Deeplight. Da-da-da-da-ba-da. I've just rearranged my shelves. Where can this go? In front of you. Hey! This is the review copy of this. I believe I was actually given this review copy by Asher, and I think I had a digital one. So thank you, Asher, if you're watching. I treasure it. But this is what the actual cover looks like. The hardback was absolutely beautiful. I was so tempted by it. I have not purchased it. So while I did have a free review copy of this book, nobody's paying me to talk about books, and all opinions are my own. I'm also going to keep this as spoiler-free as humanly possible. If you do want to go into this book knowing absolutely nothing, don't watch review videos. There you go. I've chosen this book as the second book in this Frances Hardinge extravaganza, partly because that's the way it came up in the schedule spreadsheet when I was doing it, but also because I thought last week we did the first Frances Hardinge book I read. We did Skinful of Shadows. You can't see it, but we did do that. And then I thought we would go on to what is almost certainly, currently, I've not read her entire back catalogue, but currently my absolute favourite. Also, conveniently, her most recent book, Deeplight, came out in October of 2019. And there was a short story that's related to this after that. I haven't read yet, but this is her most recent work. If you're interested in more author information about Frances Hardinge, you can watch last week's video or check out her website, which I've linked below. I'm going to read you the plot summary because I want to. I think that other people write these better than I do. But first, Luna is going to do a stretch and probably come over here and bother me, so let's just wait for that to happen. You just want to lie there. Okay, that's fine. The gods of Myriad were as real as the coastlines in currents and as merciless as the winds and whirlpools. Then one day they rose up and tore each other apart, killing many hundreds of islanders and changing the Myriad forever. On the jumbled streets of the island of Ladies' Crave live Hark and his best friend Jelt. They are scavengers living off their wits, diving for relics of the gods, desperate for anything they can sell. But now there is something stirring beneath the waves, calling someone brave enough to retrieve it. Something valuable, something dangerous. Nothing is quite as it seems, and when the waves try and claim Jelt, Hark will do anything to save him, even if it means compromising not just who Jelt is, but what he is. It's a really interesting description of this book, because I think you could very easily write this plot completely differently. It would still be totally true. That is definitely what happens in this book. But there are so many things happening, and so many different plot threads you could decide are the most important. Ooh, interesting stuff. I think that's another Frances Hardinge theme. My personal reason why this is my favourite Frances Hardinge book is that I think the setting has a real personal connection for me. As you'll know if you've been watching for a while, ocean setting books are some of my absolute favourites. Coastlines, I grew up by the sea, sort of, and it's definitely something that's really stuck with me. So I really enjoy reading books with that kind of setting. And one of the things I really love about Deeplight and the way it works is the way that the ocean and this connection to the old gods in the ocean has just been ingrained in society, from everything from the way that their daily lives work to the way that their, curse words function, blasphemy, all of this stuff. It's built in, and I really enjoy that, especially with the added layer of the history of that. But now the old gods are gone, torn apart, supposedly. We're pulling pieces of them out of the ocean, and that still in living memory history of the gods is fascinating. Ocean settings, always good. Magical, creepy, terrifying, gods live in them ocean settings, just even better, frankly. I will take it directly into my face right now, please and thank you. I want to touch on Hark as a main character because in my experience of reading Frances Hardinge, usually, in the books that I have read, usually her protagonists are women, they're young girls. In this case we have Hark, who is a young boy, and when I initially started reading this I really thought I was going to find Hark terribly annoying because young male protagonists. But in this case I find Hark just so much fun to read because I think he's written in the same way as Frances Hardinge writes her female protagonist, which is they have a lot of gumption, they are often quite sheltered from the world or have a reason to not understand everything that is happening to them. They really care, and I think Hark really cares about things, and it's really interesting to watch him grow and develop his understanding of the world and his own values across the space of the book. I won't get into it too much, but there's a lot of stuff that happens to him that's very character building, and he has a lot of opportunities to learn and grow and make different choices. And I think that just makes for a really compelling character to read. And you really root for him, even though sometimes he does things that you're like, oh, that was a bit of a teenage boy behaviour, but okay. I just very much enjoy his perspective on things. I've written a bit irresponsible, but not annoying. All I can say in favour. Another somewhat personal pro, this book contains a lot of my personal favourite things. It includes the idea of becoming a better person because people are finally kind to you. Oh, perfection. I love it. Weird body turning into other things kind of horror. It's not horror in the overt sense, but that idea of someone turning into something else, I've realised quite recently is something I enjoy in fiction. The threat of gradually becoming something more than human. Also has the idea of science and magic having kind of blurred lines between them. It's not as overt as in some other works, but there is an element of in making magic work with technology, such as technology is in this, I don't want to say time period, but where this book is set, we don't have like computers and stuff, but the magic combined with technology stuff that comes in later in the story, just fantastic. It's a standalone, which I very much enjoy. I haven't mentioned this in some of my other Hardinge reviews, but I think that part of the reason her books are so fun is that they just sort of end. They're great. You don't need to pick up a mile-long series. I know that Twilight Robbery has a sequel, or is that the sequel? Fly By Night, Twilight Robbery. But I haven't read the sequel to that, so anyway. You don't need to read anything else. As I say, I haven't read the short story. Do I have the name for it? No, I do not. Why can I not remember? I don't know. So I haven't read the short story, but I would quite like to. But this is just, it's all encompassed in one thing, and I very much enjoyed that. I think that's a pro. Dollar's Legs! There we go, I had written it down. I'm a star. Some things to bear in mind if you're planning on reading this, or if you're recommending this to other people is probably more where I would go with this, is that it's quite creepy. It's not as scary as some of her other books, I think. Depending on what scares you, I suppose. I think for me, because I was reading a bit above my reading level when I was probably like the normal age range that middle grade would be, I think that this would have scared me more than it does now as an adult. But, you know, your mileage may vary. I don't know how scared you or the middle grade people that you deal with get. There we go. That's my one qualm, I suppose. I was trying to think which of Frances Hardinge's books are closest like this. And obviously with all the caveats that I haven't read all of them, I think Face Like Glass is probably one that I would draw the most similarities with, just for the kind of weirdness of the world and some of the mystery solving that goes on. But we will be talking about that. Is that next week? I think that's next week. In terms of other similar books, House of Salt and Sorrows is another slightly creepy Set by the Sea book, which I very much enjoy. I'm going to pop you there for now. I'll put you back in just a moment. Do I have any others? Creepy, by the ocean. I have a whole video of my favourite sea-based books, I think. I'm pretty sure I do. If I don't, I'll cut this out and we won't worry about it. My final thoughts are you should absolutely read this. I recommend it all the time. It is where I would personally start with Hardinge. If I could erase this book from my memory and read it again, I would have the best time. Just leave myself a note that was like, you should start by reading this. Sorry about erasing your memory. It would be wonderful. As you'll know, if you've been... She's so cross with me. I'll hug you after I've done filming. Don't sulk. I think that's because of my personal connection and because I really like ocean books. You might feel differently, but this is my personal favourite. Have you read this? Do you have plans to? Is this something that you would like to pick up? Have you read any other Frances Hardinge? At some point I will talk about the ones that I have left to read and I will make a plan to get them on the TBR, but it is not today. Please do let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you have any other ocean recommendations, I am always here for them. Plonk them there as well. While you're down there commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord. We have a great time talking about books. I'm currently chatting with them about my to-do list. I say chatting with, I've just posted my to-do list. I needed a place to be accountable. There we go. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Would you stop being a mess? Would you maybe stop being a mess? I'm gonna clean my glasses because I'm procrastinating. Ow. As you'll know, if you've been... She's so cross with me. I'll hug you after I've done filming. Don't sulk. Okay, I will come and hug you in just a moment. Let me just sort the audio out.